The Deputy Minister of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment, Bernice Swarts, is currently leading a government campaign to plant 1 million trees. Now, the campaign forms part of the presidential 10 million trees flagship program, which also aims to mobilise South Africans from all walks of life. Now, the objective of this campaign is to, of course, bring all South Africans together to plant trees in order to mitigate against climate change. SABC News reporter Molemoane Mutwa has the details.
Well, South Africans are out there celebrating Heritage Day today, with many attending cultural activities or events, and others, of course, preparing for Bryce. And the 1 million trees planting initiative is also being celebrated today here at Freedom Park, with the planting of trees, as we understand that the public as well as various organizations are actually being mobilized or encouraged to plant trees in mitigation of the climate change challenges. But just to hear more on that, I'm now going to be joined by the Deputy Minister to hear more. Thank you so much for your time. The importance of planting trees for a person who actually might have interest, or for the one who might not even understand what the significance is. If you can just unpack that for us.
All we are saying is that all South Africans in all the corners of all the 9 provinces in South Africa must just understand the one basic importance of a tree is that the oxygen we breathe comes from a tree. And we have translated this into all the official languages so that people can just understand that basic first before we even come with the whole language of climate change and its impact on the environment, and the importance of trees in relation to climate change and its impact on the environment. For us, the clarion call is that the first most important thing is that every morning when we wake up and we find ourselves breathing is because of the oxygen from a tree. And also that throughout the 9 provinces in South Africa today, we have different sites, be it from a primary school, high school, be it a church, be it a police station, a clinic, a hospital, which we have deemed as our safe spaces, so that we can every 3 months go and do monitoring on the trees, that the trees are still there and that they are surviving, and especially the 60% of the fruit trees, that they will bear the fruits. And what is important is that we must teach people that trees have a very important role in our lives in terms of the environment, so that generations who comes after us must find an environment that is intact and a planet that is intact at the same time.
Are there any activities perhaps that are being done, to heighten awareness about this initiative for South Africans?
Yes, there are, because we've got 9 provincial departments of the environment. Others are called environment, agriculture, tourism, but in all the 9 provinces we have got environment departments. And yes, the education is there on the ground and it's important. So we are teaching people in our different ways, and especially now to the build-up of the 1 million trees, we had coordinators everywhere, and especially in the schools where we're going to schools and asking schools to be part of this. But we do have environmental awareness programs, even through our South African National Institute of Biodiversity, where we actually take school kids around in our botanical gardens to actually teach them about the importance of trees. And even in communities, we have collaborated with traditional leaders, where we ask traditional leaders that when you meet your subjects and when you meet your community members, you must please talk about the environment. We have been always donating 100 trees to the traditional leaders, even on Arbor Day and even during Arbor Month last year, and even during this year. Whenever we have an activity, whether it's around waste, e-waste, chemical waste, we donate trees, but we have talks with the traditional leaders that this is the importance of the environment and trees. You must always be talking to people and why we should not cut trees. And we have even asked the traditional leaders that we are saying that if a person cuts 1 tree, you must replace it with 20 trees. And especially the culprits who are always developing estates. So we are going to plant a lot of trees because they're always cutting trees. But we don't want it just to be lip service. We want it must be a binding by law through the municipalities and through their planning departments, that before they approve plans, if there are trees and the architect says that after everything's been said and done, they're going to cut the trees, we must then enforce the replacement of the number of trees that they can't plant, and at one tree it must be 20 trees.
And what kind of trees are being planted?
Today we are planting 60% fruit trees, and the reason for that is when the president came up with this program, he said we must plant 60% fruit trees so that we talk to the food security issue, because people do not have money. So when they've got 20 rand, they're not thinking about apples and grapes and bananas. People will think about electricity, they'll think about bread. So through that, we are also talking about communal fruit gardens, especially in the rural areas, so that everybody during harvesting can get fruits. And then we are talking about 40% indigenous trees. Our indigenous trees, some of them are medicinal. Indigenous trees, some of the trees are trees that is being used to make furniture, to make the beds, the chairs, and all those sorts of things, because trees have got both sides. It's got the food side and it's got the economic side, because we also are forestry, and we talk about people who do paper and who do all the commodities, and others just export their logs to other countries where it is then used to make furniture and all those type of things.